What's up, YouTubers? Just want to make a short video. This video is about why I think legacy banking is either dead or they'll have to change and readjust their business model. This is a good article on why banks and bank employees are more government employees. Back in the day when I was a young person, I used to subscribe to Harry Brown's reports, and he pointed out a long time ago how bank employees are more like government employees. And then my relative, she worked at a bank as a teller, but she still does. I remember when she told me when I deposited a check for $3,000, I had a suspicious activity report put on me, and how distressed she was that bank tellers, they're trained to look for money laundering things, which can include depositing a check. Even this check was an employee check I got from my employer. And back in the day, my sister used to be more of an establishment person, but as she got older, she realized not all, but most of her job is to comply with government regulations regarding, most of the time, money laundering laws. Not always, but most of the time. Anyways, this is why legacy banking is dead, and why I think Bitcoin or something like Bitcoin is going to change a lot of stuff in our world. Anyways, here's the headline. A Houston doctor says Chase Bank employees question her medical credentials when she tried to deposit her first $16,000 from a new job. It's a check. I presume it's a check. What else would it be? Anyways, the fact that she has an account and they won't let her deposit a check, that's very fascinating. What's the point of banking if you can't put an employee or an employer check into your own bank account because they think it's suspicious? Anyways, I'm just going to read a little bit from this article to give you an idea of what's going on in our world and why things are coming unglued when these kind of things are going on. I also want to point out, this is not the first time I've ever read a story like this. This is happening a lot. And it's happening with the high street banks. Usually small town banks don't do this, but the high street banks will do this quite frequently. They're more worried about what my sister used to call the Smurf laws, or the smurfing, which back in the day used to imply money laundering. They're more worried about complying with the government rules and regulations than cashing a check or depositing a check. Or even when my mom recently tried to take out a certain amount of money in cash. Anyways, they don't like doing it in the States. I'll just put it that way. And as a matter of fact, I think my mom's account is with Chase, or at least one of them. Anyways, a medical doctor in Houston is suing Chase Bank over allegations of racial discrimination. Now, again, I'm not pointing this out because of any racial discrimination. I'm just pointing something out that can happen to anyone. Dr. Malika Mitchell Stewart says she was treated like a criminal when she tried to open an account. Okay, she tried to open an account. Chase apologized for the experience and said it is investigating. Okay, that's one thing. Here we go. When she presented the $16,780.16 check to the teller, I presume to deposit it, the teller began to ask peculiar questions about its authenticity. Dr. Mitchell certainly did not expect that when she attempted to open a bank account with Chase and proudly deposit her first check as a new physician, she would be accused of fraud and denied the ability to open a bank account at one of the more prominent retail banks in the world. That is true. Chase is considered one of the more prominent banks. We take this matter seriously, very seriously, and are investigating the situation, said Chase, or a spokesman. We reached out to Dr. Mitchell Stewart to better understand what happened and apologize. That's not going to do you any good. Okay, according to the lawsuit, this is about an opinion on the check that the bank had. And according to this, personal ID, emails, and business cards were not enough to change the employee's mind. See, my opinion is this is not about race or anything. This is about money laundering laws, and banks they're very careful, like even depositing a check if it's what they consider to be too much or not in alignment with what you say you do for a living. I mean, I remember this is years and years and years ago, when I deposited a check for $3,000 and then took the money out. And then my sister she worked up in the trust department. She relayed to me the next day that she was upset because the tellers thought I was doing something inappropriately by depositing a check and then taking the money out in cash. They didn't think that was right. So they filed a suspicious activity report, or a SAR. I've had that happen multiple times. I deposited 2 checks one time into, I think, the same account. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same account. And again, because my sister worked in the trust department, I found out later from her that they filed a SAR because they thought depositing 2 checks in the amount of $1,000, there were 2 $500 checks in the amount of $1,000 was suspicious. See, I think this is what this is about. I don't think this is really about race. I don't know, but I'm just trying to point out that because of this, this is going to make banking more and more uncompetitive. And if banks don't change their policies, and if they care more about enforcing government mandates or government laws, people are going to use Bitcoin more in stable coins or dollar stable coins. I don't know how it's going to work, but my understanding is there's more companies willing to pay you in stable coins as opposed to a check, so you can have it deposited right into your stablecoin wallet or your wallet that accepts whatever stablecoin you have. Now, for average people at the low end of the economic scale, I don't think the case, but that's what I've read. I know engineers, actually I know some personal engineers who have this. They have Bitcoin deposited into their Bitcoin wallet. I also know people who do have part of their check deposit stablecoins, but these are more professionals. So I hope this eventually goes to anyone who works, that companies offer a stablecoin that you can just put in your wallet and you don't have to deal with banks and their silly policies. What I like now, at least right now, with Bitcoin wallets and some of these other wallets, they're totally decentralized. The government can't stop you from getting a wallet, and the government can't stop you from accepting payments from clients or employers or contractors, to get paid in Bitcoin or stable coins or whatever coin you want. Anyways, I thought I'd put this out there just to let people know. Just depositing a payroll check to open an account. Apparently with this woman who was a doctor, they wouldn't open the account. And I just wanted to point out my own stories with having SARs or suspicious activity reports put on me just for depositing 2 checks, and then for depositing a check and then taking the cash out right away. Again, nothing happened because of all that, but still I was annoyed, as was my sister, that they felt the need to comply with all those rules and regulations. And I understand, I guess maybe they could get fired. Who knows? I really don't know what can happen. But they seem to be a little bit, bank employees seem too enthusiastic enforcing government rules and regulations rather than serve the customer or the client. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Have a good evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you.